Hello, Virgo. My name is NiJiLL. Welcome to ÄLKÖMÜ. This is your July 2025 reading. Now, if you have, I invite you, by the way, to watch your summer overview. I go into these cards like much more in depth. I will summarize them a little so you're not lost, but these are the cards we pulled for your July in your overview. And your reading in particular was pretty interesting, so I invite you to go listen to that. But yeah, just so you know, to give you a little bit of it, as usual, I have broke your month up into thirds, and we know that sometimes the first leg can come last, and sometimes they do go in order. It really depends on which Virgo is listening to this, but we know it's not a science, right, Virgo? So just so you know, we pulled out the fairy cards. I haven't used these in years, so to commemorate the fact that we are leaning on the power of the Fae, I did pull out this dirt, and this is dirt that I collected in Ireland back in 2014. And we were at a small town in Ireland, and long story short, the locals directed us to a place called the Fairy Tree. And they said if you walk about a half mile up this road, you'll come across this tree, and if you bring some ribbon or some twine and you tie something onto the branch and make a wish, the Fae will grant your wish. And so I did that, and I also took some dirt. And yes, long story short, the Fae did grant my wish. The only thing I can tell you here, Virgo, is be careful what you wish for. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, let us get on to your reading. We're going to summarize this because this is crucial to the rest of the reading. You do have something that says, remember an awakening. I do think it's more of an awakening than anything else. I'm going to put these cards out of the way just for a little bit while we concentrate on this one. Now, this is an interesting card. This is the card of Taurus, the Hierophant, but this is a version of the Hierophant. The deck I work with, if you watched me shuffle this deck in your summer reading, it's massive, right? So sometimes there's two, sometimes there's four renditions of the same card. And this particular card is one of the alternate cards. And as you can see, it is the Pope or a papal figure riding a pig. This has a whole different meaning than the traditional one in that deck. And, you know, I do go into, I do show you pictures on screen of the different, the different hierophants, and I go into the painting that this particular one is taken from and the history. But rather than go through all that, I'm just going to summarize. So this is the alternate card. It still represents Taurus even in this deck. And the painting that we shared with you in the summer reading, we did that alongside comparisons to the original Hierophant card in this one. This tells us you may be made to feel like you're chained to something. Something may feel so sort of, I don't know, like overbearing, something overbearing that it's not even a consideration whether you could even move. It's almost like being in a box that's too small, but it's a sudden thing. It's a box you've always been in, but it's somehow suffocating now, right? And you are starting to see the chains that are around your ankles, and you're starting to feel that tether in the month of July. And this could be a job that is just suddenly you've outgrown it, or suddenly it feels suffocating. It could be, for many of you, it's a family dynamic, right? It's expectations of parents, expectations from a spouse or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, expectations from your job. And, the bottom line is you are awakening. You are definitely awakening to something. And it's not a comfortable feeling, but it is sort of almost necessary here, for sure. Okay. Now, let me move these over here for the time being. Now, the first card up here is the Queen of Cups. And, the Queen of Cups is Venus in Cancer energy. This could mean many things in many readings. Just so you know, these larger cards, I do not take them in reverse, but when they come in reverse, I take note of them, okay? And so this came in reverse, and this is somebody who you may not regard as manipulative. You may not regard as overbearing. You may not regard as, whatever, but they actually are. They come across as a Queen of Cups, but they're actually a Queen of Cups in reverse, if that makes sense to you, right? You may be starting to erect boundaries with this person, or you may want to. This could be a male or a female. Somebody they come across as very supportive, but they're not. And it could very well be a parental figure. Could be anybody, but for some of you, it is definitely a parental figure. You have the Nine of Swords, and this is what this queen is causing. This is it directly in the upright. Mercury and Gemini energy. You're not coping, and dogma comes to mind, because with this painting that we talked about, it is dogma. Instead of just being that commitment or that doctrine that the Hierophant represents, it's dogma. And this is something, definitely go listen to that, even if you listen just to that 5 minutes of it, because the reading itself is like 10 minutes long, so it's not a long reading. But yeah, this is like sort of dogmatic thinking. It could be, like I said, from a job, from a family, from a religion that you've maybe followed. It could be an expectation. It could be your own old goals, right? It could be you. And it's like part of you is waking up and part of you is tethered to this old way of thinking and doing things. You do have here the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles is Moon and Taurus energy, and this is getting breadcrumbs. This is like an energy where you're not getting enough. There's the box is too small, the rations are too low. You're not getting what you have grown or are growing into something or someone that is no longer happy with this situation. Okay, you have interestingly enough, remember I said you had the Queen of Cups that was in the reverse. Here you have her counterpart. So you have a male and a female energy here, okay? Or you have two energies here, and one comes across as very supportive and sweet but isn't, and the other one comes across as a complete jerk off, and at least he is what he is. He's like, yeah, no. I'm not even going to pretend to be supportive, right? The King of Cups in reverse, Sun in Scorpio, Sun in Pisces. It's the Queen's counterpart. This is a true reversed, oppressive. This is a very oppressive couple. Angry, masculine, sort of determined to have his way, not supportive, not pretending to be supportive. You have here your energy in reverse. That makes total sense here. The Hermit in reverse, Virgo energy. You are not feeling like yourself. You feel suffocated. You feel unhappy. You're not thriving at all in this energy. And here we go. We have the Queen of Cups again, and this time she's in reverse. So have no fear. No matter how supportive this person may seem, her true colors will come out. And here it is, right? It's that, I don't know, man. This is just like a very oppressive energy. And this could be, people at work. This could be a job that, like I said, but for many of you, this is family for sure. Right? When we add this up, first of all, you have two number 9s here. And two number 9s means you're almost at the point where you're done. You're almost at the point where you're ready to like complete a cycle and start a new one. Almost. And 9 is right before 10. 10 is completing a cycle. And you have here, when we add this up and we break it down, you have number 11. It really doesn't surprise me. Cardinal number, bridging number, going from one point A to point B. 11 is that bridge. Definitely you've had it with something here, Virgo. Now going over to the side, you did pull the card of Aquarius. You could be dealing with an Aquarius. You could have Aquarius highly aspected in your chart. Pluto is now in Aquarius, and let me tell you, it does a number. If you hang on to things that aren't meant for you, or that you're hanging on to something that's kind of dead weight, it will annihilate it, especially if you have Aquarius in your chart here. That is Uranus, Saturn energy. It's interesting because on July 7th, we have Venus and Gemini trine Pluto and Aquarius. And it's sort of like as temperatures rise, temperatures meaning your environment, not actual temperatures, so do your passions. Your passions are going to rise too. And that could mean anything. It could mean obvious, sexual energy, but it also could mean you have a passion for something that's slowly becoming hard to ignore. And this could be a brand new goal, a brand new job, a brand new person, something that your family or that goes against the current doctrine of your life. Okay. Yeah, definitely. And you have, yeah, I mean, because look, well, I'll get to that. I don't want to jump ahead. I really don't. But yeah, you definitely have this Aquarian energy, and Aquarius is also the sign of rebellion. You could be rebelling. I mean, it has all the earmarks of rebellion here. You do have third house here. It is Gemini. Gemini in the third house. And, you know, the third house is the house of communication, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is the sign of communication. And it does say, it says communication, right? Yeah, there is something you're going to communicate this month, and or something that you're going to be communicating with this group of people, these two people, whether at work or in your family. And I would tread carefully because we are going into a Mercury retrograde. So that might make it tough. You know, it might make you misunderstand people. People misunderstand you. You should be very crystal clear. You do have the full moon here. It says culmination, release, illumination. I like that. I like that this third house energy is building towards the full moon. And the full moon in July is on July 10th, and it is the Capricorn full moon. And for Virgo, it highlights themes of success and ambition, and evaluation of your career path. You know, you could, you know, for maybe one or two of you here, you could be looking to change careers, but like you're feeling a calling, and you know your family isn't going to like it, or your spouse isn't going to like it, but it's something that's difficult to ignore at this point, right? So that could be very telling, right? You could be going to school for something that you're not feeling it anymore, and now you have to break the news, and it's going to be this whole thing. I mean, it's something like that that's building here. And you know, you do have Uranus, and Uranus is one of the ruling planets of Aquarius. It says unexpected change, right? And it also says a different way of looking at things. So yeah, I mean, and don't forget, Uranus is the planet of what? It's the planet of rebellion. And what's interesting, remember when I told you on July 7th, we have Venus in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius? Well, on July 7th, also, Uranus enters Gemini. What did we say about Gemini up here, right? The old ways of communicating get shaken up. You're ditching dogma for something more modern. And when I say modern, I mean modern to you, brand new to you and perhaps the people around you here, Virgo. So you have these three Lenormand cards. You have one is the child, one is the man, and one is the book. Now, these cards have many, many meanings, but when they're together like this, it could mean that someone's, that you're learning new things as if you're a child. Like you have this childlike wonder that you haven't had in a long time. Could very well be. It could be the child of these two, it could be the adult child of these two archetypes coming into their own, right? They look at you like you're a child. You're not. Right? You're a full-grown person. The book means learning. Maybe they're learning there's something about you. Maybe you're learning something about yourself. Bottom line is the book is an indication of learning. Pretty interesting here for sure. Now, when we go over to the other side, we have fire. And this is number 8 in this deck. It says ignition. Something is being ignited. It's really perfect energy for this reading anyway, right? And we're going into like a fire sign season with that Leo energy and Martian energy for sure, right? That Mars energy or that Leo energy makes you want to live your passion. You want to live what you're passionate about, whether it's a person or a place or a job or a goal, and something is igniting. You have karmic relationship here. It says karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Yes, yes, yes. You are meant to have this situation with these people, whoever they are. And let me see if I could, yeah. And this is very karmic. This is a lesson learned. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of a conflict here with someone. You have check-in here. These are the cards that I pull to find out if there's someone around you that's thinking something that you don't really know about when you listen to this reading. And one says check-in and one says vent. And those aren't bad cards. Sometimes these cards could be quite nasty. So there is someone that's looking to check in. It says, I want to catch up and make sure everything is going well. So you might hear from someone here who you haven't heard from in a minute. And it says vent. I have to get this off my chest. So when you hear from this person, they might vent to you, or very well, you might vent to them about this situation. So they might help you through it here. And what's interesting here is you have these two cards. It says take action and easy does it. Yeah. So you're going to have to figure out when to press on the gas and when to press on the brakes. It's not one thing this month. It's a variety of things, right? Whatever your question, this is telling you to go for it. And then on this, it says slow down, and slow and steady wins the race. So you have both of these energies here, and it's going to be you that decides when to do which, but both are going to be needed here. You have this Norse ruin, and this is Yira. And see, it says cycle on it. So it is the card of, let me see if I could get that in here. It is the card of the harvest, right? It's the card. What is a harvest? A harvest is when you plant seeds and you nourish them and you take care of them. And then when it's time to pick your harvest, it's yours because you worked for it. So this is something that's all yours. And this is a brand new cycle. And this ruin marks progress. So there is some sort of progress you're making here this month. You have the witch's ruin. You have the flight. And I like that for you. It's movement. It's also communication. Communication's a big deal. It's a big deal. And that Mercury retrograde energy is all over this ruin. So I'm telling you, it's a big deal for you here. And we know that Mercury rules your sign too. So, you know, it's very, very apt, right? You have these three letters. You have C, Q, and B. Now, this could be anything. It could be someone's initials. It could be a restaurant. It could be a street name. It could be a company. It could be a goal you have. It could be anything like that. So keep a very open mind. One of them or all of them will mean something to you by the time the month ends. Now, you have these three legs. I explained it to you before. I will not explain it to you again. You do have control. So there may be some, I'm telling you, there is somebody or something here looking to control you, looking to, you know, push their agenda onto you, their dogma, their old way of doing things, something, I mean, whatever it is, I don't want to go down the list again, but there is somebody here or a group of somebodies that would like to do that. But this particular, well, I don't want to jump ahead. You have the Empress here, and the Empress is great energy. It's Taurus, Libra energy. It's creative endeavors and birthing something, right? You're birthing something into existence. This could be literal child for like at least one of you, right? But it's birthing something. It could be birthing a brand new plan, a brand new goal, a brand new creative idea into existence. This is the gestation stage of that. You have the Nine of Autumn, and the Nine of Autumn is Virgo energy. And it is somebody who is happily, this could be someone who's happily self-employed. Could be someone, but it's someone who is successful, attaining something that you worked for alone. There is that harvest energy. There's a reward here. You're seeing something that's making you excited. But here you have the Three of Winter. And, you know, I really can't help but think, and this is kind of like Three of Swords energy. There are three people involved, right? You have these two archetypes and yourself, maybe. But you have this Libra energy. It's released. But, you know, I really think that you're disappointed in someone's reaction, or they're disappointed in your change. And it is painful. You know, it doesn't have to be complete and utter heartbreak, but it could be serious disappointment in the way someone's reacting to something or something like that. But you are facing this. And I like that, right? You have all these good things going on. You're facing this control energy. You're disappointed in some of the things you've learned, but you're like, okay, when we add this, before that, you do have two number threes here. And the number threes indicate a period of growth, manifestation, very Jupiter energy, right? Very Jupiter. But when we add this up and we break it down, we get Venus energy. And that doesn't really surprise me, right? You have, you know, Venus could rule love. Absolutely. It could also rule money. So it could be either one of those things here for you, Virgo. Here you have past lack, suffering. Yeah. Let's see what this is about here. You have the first one is strength. I like that card for you, right? That's Leo energy no matter what deck it is. And on this deck, I really like this. You see how there is a lion and a lamb, right? So this card tells us that there is strength in both types of energy. There is strength in being very forceful and assertive, right? It's that fire energy. And there's also strength in being very kind and open and forgiving. And your job this month is to figure out who deserves which energy. And it's not always as easy as we think, right? But yeah, there are two types of strength here on the table. In your center card, the one that I always tell you it means the most because it's the center card, is the Two of Autumn. And the Two of Autumn is Capricorn energy, and it's you are accomplishing a lot, right? But I do think that the juggling is something that is going to get to you after a while. Juggling two ideas, two ways of thinking, you have one foot in one world, one foot in another, right? And you may be suffering because of that. You may be suffering. You are feeling lack in your old world where maybe one time you didn't feel it. You can't deny the pull anymore. You do have the Five of Summer here, and the Five of Summer is coming in sideways, and this is a choice you have to make. This is conflict, right? It's Scorpion energy. You could forgive past mistakes. They could forget, but you have to, listen, this could be something as simple as you're conflicted, and it makes sense, right? You're conflicted. You have to make a decision. You could also make a decision on whether you want to, take part in this conflict that's going on outside of you. And what's interesting is it's right next to the Three of Winter. It's right next to that Three of Swords energy. So you're like, how should I react to this? You have to make a decision here, definitely, for sure, okay? And there is some sort of suffering involved. And when I say that, it doesn't mean you have to lay on a bed of nails. It doesn't mean that you're heartbroken no, I mean, it could be something as simple as, hey, this doesn't feel good. I really don't like the situation, right? We add this up and we break it down, we get Mars energy. And that we talked about that, right? That Mars, it's warlike, but it is assertiveness. And you're like, I'm being assertive. I like the assertive energy coming from you here, Virgo. Now, here on your last leg here, it says nurture and compassion. Okay. You do have, I like this. You have the Four of Spring opening this leg. Aries energy. Pride in your accomplishments. Very, very pride oriented. This could be a brand new home. Maybe you're moving. This could be it's a brand new job, a brand new direction, a brand new goal, a brand new way of thinking. But this is something you're proud of. This is something you're happy about. And this is very apt too, you have the release card, and this is the death card, but isn't this kind of cool that they call it, not only do they call it release, but it's so beautiful. And I love that. So yeah, you're releasing something. If something that needed releasing, right? It's a reinvention of you being reborn. You have the Five of Autumn here. Yeah. So you can expect, because look at this. Look at this. You have that Three of Winter energy, that Three of Swords, right? And I really think it has something to do with these people here. And then you have the Five of Summer, that conflict that you have to make a decision about. And right next to it, you have that Five of Autumn. You're either walking away and leaving them out in the cold, at least temporarily, or they're doing it to you. And it's a battle of the wills here, for sure, right? You may be feeling alone at one point, but I don't know. I like the energy coming from you. If somebody's doing a battle of the wills against you this month, I think they're going to have their hands full. I don't think that you're going to cave, because I have that. You have a lot of fire energy in your reading. And when we add this column up and we break it down, we get Uranus again, right? The planet of rebellion and unexpected change. So maybe, listen, maybe the person that you're supposed to nurture here is yourself. So it seems like that to me here, Virgo. Now, let's look at your challenges, as if we didn't talk about your challenges enough. Yeah, you're going to be, right? What did I say? Maybe the person that you're supposed to nurture is yourself. And here you have self-love. And you have that creation energy from the Empress. It is time to let your intentions be known. It is your life after all, Virgo. And here you go. Remember I said that releases the death card energy? Well, here you have it from another deck. Same energy. Scorpion energy. Something has ended, or something is about to be released. Something's ending, so something can be reborn. Something that doesn't serve you anymore. You have the Nine of Wands coming in on this side, and the Nine of Wands on this side is Sagittarian energy. The war is over, right? And you have to figure out what your bounty is. What did you win? Everybody wins something or loses something in a war. Sometimes it's both. I do think it's going to be both for you. What did you learn? When I say what did you win, I mean, what did you learn from this? There was a definite karmic learning experience going on here. And here you are. You are the Hermit once again, but I love this side because on this side, it is traditional and it's very nice. But on this side, he's not alone, right? Like my look at that. It's just a beautiful picture, isn't it? It's just a beautiful picture for Virgo. Um, this this has been this Hermit on this side has seen some harsh times. And he's been damaged by certain things, but he keeps to himself, except he has this group, this trusted group, right? And he has that egg, that Empress energy that he's cultivating, gestation stage, right? Um, Definitely, he does have his circle of friends. He does have his circle of like-minded people. And I like that creation energy that's coming up over and over again. And you have two number nines here, and we talked about that. Number nine means you are about to finish a cycle. And the number fours, you have two number fours as well, and that is structure and stability, but it also can represent limitations. And that makes sense here. That's your challenge. You do have that challenge. And when we add this up and we break it down, we have that Uranus energy, right? That rebellious energy. So it all fits. It definitely fits. Here in your opportunities sector or column, you do have the Venus energy again, right? And I like that. Remember when we said the Venus energy could be a love situation, but it also could be a money/goal situation, right? But you have Venus energy as an opportunity for you, Virgo. You do have here the Nine of Swords, but the Nine of Swords is a little different on each side here, right? You have Gemini energy, and you see the swords are see-through, right? And the swords are sort of your mind. You're going to understand that it is a prison of your own mind, right? That it's not real. These swords aren't real, not in this picture, right? You see how they're just, it's all coming from his head. You see the light shining on him? Yeah, there is light here, and you're going to realize this is going to be a realization. You're going to be very strong mentally. That's also a card of mental strength, at least in this deck, right? You do have here the Queen of Cups again. And you see how she has turned her back. There may be someone that has, and obviously that is, Cancer, Venus and Cancer energy, but more than that, okay, this is, the Queen has turned her back, and that's fine. Maybe that's why you had that Five of Pentacles energy, that out in the cold feeling. But this is in your opportunities. So let her turn her back, or he. Let them turn their back. And here you have the Five of Swords, right? Someone is claiming victory, and someone else feels a little bit of a loss. And this could go both ways, right? Because this is an empty victory, right? This is like, yeah, I mean, and when I say that, I'm not talking about what you're fighting for. I'm talking about if you're conflicted against someone and you're both fighting, there are no real winners, right? There aren't. If this is your family and they're going against something you've decided for yourself, and they win, they think they've won because they've sent you out into the cold, that's not winning. Right? I mean, and it's honestly the same on both sides. Winning would be coming together and saying, okay, I may not understand, I may not agree, but I support, right? That's a win, in my opinion. And when we add this up and we break it down, we have that Mercury energy, Gemini, Virgo energy, Mercury retrograde. Be mindful of how and what you communicate and what you understand. Because Mercury retrograde starts on the 17th, but we have that pre-shadow for at least a week. So basically, it's the whole month of July. Okay, so just be mindful. It's a tricky time, but it's a very important time for you. Somehow this retrograde is seriously important for you here, Virgo. Okay, let me grab this deck. I will close out your reading with one of these cards, and then we will do your numerology to tie everything together in a nice bow. For Virgo, please. Against nature. Wow. I have to tell you, I pulled this card twice when I was doing a personal reading for someone who was choosing an alternative lifestyle from what their parents, wished for them. It's very interesting. And one of the things their parents both said was it goes against nature. And, it could be like something like that for you here, Virgo. But it also could be, that what you're doing this month goes against your nature, right? You maybe you have a nature of going with the flow. Maybe you don't have a nature of pushing back, right? It could be either or, but that's very, very interesting for a reading like this. When we add all the numbers up in this reading and we break them down, we get the number 7, and that is Neptune Pisces energy. So that is absolutely being disillusioned by something, being rather confused, and that makes sense. You're going to go through pockets of confusion this month. The number that came out the most here was number 9, which is that Mars energy, right? That we talked about a few times. It is that assertive sort of, could be warlike, could be a little conflict going on there for sure. The planet that came out the most was Venus. And like I said, that's your love or your money. It could be either, could be both. Libra, Taurus energy. The sign that came out the most was Taurus, and that really makes sense because that's Venus energy, right? We got Venus energy twice, doubling down on that, and we have Mars energy, and we have a little bit of confusion with that Neptune energy. The signs that we talked about were Pisces, Sagittarius, Cancer, Gemini, Virgo, Libra, Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio, Aries, Capricorn, and Leo. Okay. Very interesting reading this month here, Virgo. I wish you nothing but the best. And I will see you next time. And don't forget your birthday readings coming up. That should be very cool. Namaste.